Well, Ambassador, this has been quite an eventful experience. Thank you for the opportunity to put together from your archives and your data sources the information about OneBlood and its intervention. I hope that this will answer some of the questions that people have about your organization. And to wrap things up, I do a closer look at. In the documentation that I examined, you have photographed research and training hospitals and rural health centers in Liberia and Sierra Leone. Could you explain what a disease elimination and research training facility is?
Yes. Here in the West, technology has gone away from disease elimination and totally into disease management. In ages past, everyone expected that whenever you contracted disease X or disease Y, the treatment modality would lead to the elimination of the condition and you would go on living your life free of that condition. Well, that expectation has been marketed out of the conscience of the West. So now we have a system, a totally allopathic system of medical doctors whose expertise is disease diagnosis by symptom identification and then disease management. So if one develops, say, arthritis, then they can expect to live on anti-inflammatory drugs and painkillers the rest of their life. And as the condition progresses, ultimately end up with joint replacement surgery and living with artificial joints.
Yes.
In times past, people would get rid of arthritis and they would say, I used to have arthritis. So in disease elimination, we've maintained that technology. We try to utilize the best of modern medicine but maintain the best of traditional medicine so that disease elimination becomes the reality instead of life of disease management. In the third world, disease management is not affordable. Although they've reduced the cost of the drugs by 90%. The cost is still unaffordable. So in our hospitals, we concentrate on researching the causes of disease, so we eliminate the causes. We use modern medicine to get the symptoms under control. We eliminate the causes of disease, at least that's what our objective is, so that the patients get to the point where they become former patients that are living disease-free and drug-free. Now, that is what's healthy and wholesome for humanity. So this is the objective of our system, and again, the record will show to what extent we are successful in that. As far as the rural health centers are concerned, since it's not possible to have full support in those areas, then we train our rural health specialists to do the emergency intervention like one would find in an emergency room or in a community health center, and we utilize disease management modalities while we teach preventive health care, and then we try to work out means whereby the disease elimination protocols can be communicated, implemented in those areas so that those people are also able to enjoy that benefit. But again, it's like everything else we've done. We're swimming against the stream. The tide of the river goes in the other direction as far as food security is concerned. Sustainability is not even a word in this food security issue. It's just food security. You know, there's no concept of food capacity, food sufficiency, only food security. It's just talk. It's a byword that no one ever expects to achieve. Well, it is achievable, and we're working to demonstrate on this micro model that it is possible. And The same with our healthcare objectives. A nation that can feed itself, a nation that is healthy and strong, can apply its energies for development and technology in other areas. And this is what we try to demonstrate on a small scale. And hopefully, if this and the other things we're doing is something that the political administrations desire for themselves and their people, then since we have a track record, then we'd be the practical ones to come to for expertise in how to implement the same things or expand the same things so that they can be a growing reality on a national scale rather than just on our small micro model scale.
Okay. Now, this is something that particularly perplexed me. I saw in these the statistics part, the one blood in black and white, where you returned in 2008, I believe it was, you returned in 2008.
And 2009.
In 2009, you returned 575 farms to the communities and the beneficiaries of the program 10 to 15 years ahead of the contracted scheduled obligation from the contracts that I saw. That, to me, from my calculations, about $84 million in rice that you gave away.
Yes.
Now, I'm basically a little perplexed by that, because the standard business model says that if you put in the work and effort and you have a contractual promise that you're supposed to hang on to something of that much value, the standard business model says you keep it. You worked for it, you earned it. That's a lot of sweat and labor and obvious stress, headache, and expense on your part. Why did you give it away?
Well, for several reasons. One, we spent years training and developing not only the direct beneficiaries, but also we created a system of farm management with people who have expertise in our system from the beginning all the way up through the top management policies and practices. It would be a bigger expense, since our goal is trying to develop and expand this throughout the region of ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States. Since that's our objective, then we can't stay bogged down trying to do micromanagement or macromanagement of all the farms in a single country. We started in Sierra Leone in 1999.
Yes.
We went from a buttercup of rice up to this current year's harvest, about 6.2 to 6.5 million bushels. So we've demonstrated that it's possible to solve this problem if implemented in conjunction with the governments on with a national target on a large scale. Now, with the communities being trained, with the farmers being trained, knowing how to do it, we reached the point where they have done it successfully year after year after year. So now it's time to turn them loose and let them take the program and continue it for their own benefit. That's what sustainability is all about. And then we become part of their external market. So what they can sell for themselves, they sell. What they have is extra or they want to sell for us, we buy. We become the external market for them. This is another way of us giving back to the communities on a larger scale. But to try to develop and maintain the management so that you can continue the micro and macro monitoring necessary so that we would have all of these quantitative statistics, which we'll always be able to estimate the growth. We can take the minimum estimates, knowing what we've done, knowing what we have. We can take the minimum estimates and we can still project our growth year after year after year, although we've turned all of that over. But the management required to maintain, you have two rules in business. The first rule is never assume. The second rule is expect what you inspect. When you fail to inspect, then you don't have proper monitoring and then your system will fail. If you assume it's done, the reality that it's not done will cause your system to fail. So we're at the point where we have to change our focus and start focusing on developing the larger demonstration farms, so that when people come to look at our system, they see the development of the farms that we started and turned over still there, still viable, still growing, and they'll see the technology and the applications of our managed private farms as the model to the nation, continuing model to the nation, but as a part of the premier model to the region, or to whatever beneficiaries internationally that would be interested in achieving the kind of benefit we're developing and delivering that benefit to their people.
Why do you do this?
Why do I do it? I guess that's the multi-million-dollar question. You see, it goes back to the mission. The Creator, the sovereign Creator, Elohim, made of one blood all nations of men to dwell on the earth. If we learn to respect the love of every human being as our own blood, then the things that we desire will become a sustainable reality. If we learn to respect the blood, honor and respect the blood of every other human being as our own blood, then we won't have any brother-on-brother conflicts like we're seeing. It tears me up to see what's going on in Tunisia and Yemen and Egypt right now. You know, throughout history, we've never had a time where Egyptians turned on Egyptians, where Yemenis turned on Yemenis. This is nothing but satanically inspired demonic activity. The demons hate the Creator. Man is made in His image, in His likeness. So inspiring this hate for whatever the rationalized reason is, and inspiring the willingness to destroy the Creator's image in another human being for nothing, or for superficial causes. You know, if someone develops that's incorrigible in society, someone whose objective is to destroy everyone else, yes, put that person down and out of his misery. But for us to get to the point where we are destroying each other over ideologies, you know, this kind of bloodshed has proliferated ever since Cain and Abel, where Cain rose up and slew his brother over ideologies. So Elohim created humanity for a purpose. We're not just here by a quirk of nature or as a byproduct of lovesick amoeba. Elohim created humanity for a purpose. And His purpose is ultimately to, at one point, enable humanity to experience physical life and living the way He intended from the beginning, this way that was corrupted by the enemy of humanity, whether people acknowledge it or want to. This is our belief that Satan just corrupted that system. And from that time in the Garden of Eden, man has been operating under self-will and self-determination and demonic influence, satanic influence. And that's why things continue to get bad. We do things our own way, not understanding that our own way has been corrupted and influenced, and our perspective has been corrupted and influenced to the point where, in varying degrees, we're just shades away from rationalizing inhumanity against our brothers made of the same blood, because of color, because of tradition, because of culture, because of ideology, because of whatever. And the time is coming when man's way of doing things his own way, the consequences of man doing things, humanity doing things their own way, is going to become so destructive that mankind is going to be destroying themselves all over, destroying the earth all over, And it's going to require the return of Elohim, Jehovah Elohim, as the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, to put a stop to that. So I care because I love them. I love them because the Sovereign Creator loves them. And I want to demonstrate His love in the way that I can.
The 2010 harvest is in. We have figures of the harvest being in the area of between 6.2 to 6.5 million bushels of rice in what you call a micro model. The invitation, you have a diplomatic invitation from the Gambia, and standing on the success of your intervention and activities in Sierra Leone and Liberia, what's ahead for One Blood?
Well, we can never say for sure where and at what rate we'll reach our objectives. We just do everything we can to try to reach them, and Elohim has blessed us to continue to progress in spite of the corruption, in spite of the setbacks, in spite of the lack of cooperation, etc. What's ahead? My hope is that our example, and as a byproduct of your own work, your closer look at what it is we've done and what it is we're doing, will open the eyes and jog the integrity of more of the regional leaders and more of the international leaders and more of the community leaders, and there'll be more people who say, we like this benefit in our community, we like this benefit in our country, and there'll be invitations to come to develop consultancies so that the same reality that we've developed and demonstrated as a micro model can become a macro reality at a national level in the region as an example to the world. That's what I hope is ahead. What I know is ahead is, as long as Elohim preserves my life and strength and my soundness of mind, and as long as there are others willing to work together with me towards this reality, we'll be pressing towards that goal as long as life lasts.
Well, thank you for your time in this this wrap-up interview segment with One Blood and its more than impressive accomplishments. I'm sure we will probably be back for another closer look.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.